Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Fearless Broadcasting and the Wild West Racing League as they take on Rockingham Speedway, The Rock. We have a fantastic race lined up for you tonight. We hope you all enjoy, so sit back, relax, enjoy the ride. Tonight I'm joined by one of our local drivers as well, Ethan Farless. I'm Pat Wilkinson, number 82 truck. Usually I'm on the other side of the booth, but tonight I felt like joining Ethan up here. Ethan, how are you doing?
I'm feeling great. I love this track. I love this series, and it's great to be up in the booth with you. I know this is a little bit new for you, so can't wait to see how you do, and can't wait to see how these drivers do after an exciting race last week at Texas.
Very much so. A lot of excitement last week at Texas. Wasn't exactly my most stellar race, but it was still pretty fun nonetheless.
Yeah, definitely. When somebody wrecks another driver on the last lap for the win, it gets a little bit of attention. We are currently about halfway through qualifying. Currently on top of the leaderboard is that 19 truck of Keith Ayers, who did catch our eye midway through the race at Texas last week. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can do. But yeah, Ken Hunter Sr. come back and get a win this week. Or, I mean, that would have been the storyline if he had shown up, but it's going to be fun to watch. Can't wait to get these drivers on the track for the green flag.
I couldn't agree more with that. We got a lot of fun planned for tonight, again here at Rockingham Speedway, The Rock. I just didn't have a lot of time to practice this week for it, so I figured, hey, why not give a little bit of broadcasting a try? It's a heck of a lot easier being up in the booth. I don't have to worry about driving or nothing.
This track is very difficult. I was running a few practice laps earlier. Turns 1 and 2 are going to be extremely tricky for these drivers. The track seems to widen out in 3 and 4. 1 and 2 is a little bit tighter, and it's extremely loose off of turn 2. We've seen a lot of crashes in the middle of turns 1 and 2 during practice. So the question is, can these drivers keep it straight for long enough?
It's also turns, especially the entry of turn 1, and then right about the start of turn 2, maybe a little halfway into it, you have a lot of really big bumps and just really rough patches of road through that turn. You got a lot of work to do to keep that truck straight through these corners. And hopefully these guys can keep it straight for long enough, unlike last night in the the other league we were watching last night. Of course, not my most stellar broadcast for my first try, but let's hope that we have a bit better clean racing tonight.
I have a lot of faith in these drivers. These are some of the most talented drivers there are for the Truck Series. But another issue, other than the extreme handling difficulties in turns 1 and 2, will be tire wear. Tire wear will be a huge thing to look at as this race goes on. Outside lane, a little bit faster around the track, but it eats the tires up so much more. If these drivers want to save tires, they're going to have to be able to wrap that white line or yellow line or whatever color it is. But the point is, they're going to have to wrap that line in order to be the fastest at the end of a long run. We've got about 80 laps to crown a winner, and qualifying is just about over. We have about 20 seconds left. Keith Ayers looks like he will be the pole winner. Let's see if he is in the Discord to see if we can pull him in for an interview. Looking, and it does not look like he is available for comment, unfortunately, but let's see if we can pull up somebody else up into the booth.
Dakota Henderson seems to have taken second place.
Now let's pull up Dakota, currently in second place. Oh, looks like he's not. Oh, there he is. There he is. My bad. Hey, Dakota, this is Fearless and Pat up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Oh, pretty good. Currently in second in qualifying, starting to grid. What's your expectations here at Rockingham?
You know, this ain't one of my better tracks. If I can roll out here with a top 5, I feel like I had a pretty solid night, to be honest with you.
What is something you saw in practice that shows you how the tires would wear and how the handling would be around the racetrack as the tires got older?
Well, I feel like turn 2 is going to be a little bit of a hazard. Turn 3 and 4 was a little, it was sticky to me. I mean, each their own on that one, but I feel like turn 2 is going to be the turn to watch out for.
Well, I'll let you get back to your team as we're gridding right now, but congratulations on a second place starting position, and can't wait to see what you do.
Alrighty, sir.
It is Dakota Henderson in the number 5 truck, currently is going to be starting in the second position.
Your grid for tonight is starting in first place, the number 19 Ford of Keith Ayers. Starting in second, the number 5 Chevrolet of Dakota Henderson. Starting in third, the number 63 Chevrolet of Max Cost. Starting in fourth is the number 77 of James Napier. Starting in fifth is the number 69 Toyota of Stephen Ayers Jr. Starting in sixth place is the number 7 Ford of Andrew Starks. Starting in seventh is the number 22 of John Sauer. Starting in eighth is the number 29 of Will Moore. Those are your top 8 for tonight out of the 18 trucks we have starting. A lot of really good trucks out there tonight. A lot of fierce competition, having raced with them myself. I thoroughly believe this is going to be a fantastic night for some racing as we're waiting for the last few trucks to grid up here. Hopefully we have a good night of racing here.
Hopefully this track very difficult. These drivers, some of these drivers a little bit newer in the sport, very aggressive, and it's going to be interesting to see how clean they keep the trucks too. I mean, just from the little bit of practice I got, you brush the wall ever so slightly in 1 and 2, it damages the wheels, makes the car almost undrivable for the rest of the race. So it's very important that these drivers keep these trucks clean, especially early in the race. Like I said, 80 laps, it's going to be a long race.
Very much so.
Keith Ayers going to be starting on the inside lane. Dakota Henderson on that outside. Like he said, Max Cost, James Napier. All the season regulars so far, all these drivers have been up front, basically week in, week out.
Coming around turns 3 and 4 as they're all stacking up. Pace truck is off. We are green flag racing here at the Rockingham Raceway.
Here we go. Keith Ayers on the inside, Dakota Henderson on the outside. Outside lane showing its strength early. Henderson to the lead. And that 19 truck just staying on that yellow line. Here comes James Napier for second.
Coming back around to turn 4, but Dakota Henderson taking the lead. The number 19 of Keith Ayers and James Napier roaring around turns 3 and 4 in a battle for second place. Keith Ayers coming out on top.
Looks like the inside lane coming in a little bit. Ayers moved a little bit up the track in the center of turns 1 and 2. About 3 truck lengths behind Dakota Henderson, pulling away from the 63 of Max Costas. Let's see if we can ride that 5 down. We have a caution. Trey Smith, Dylan Smith. A lot of smoke coming out of that 48. Looking like engine failure.
Let's take a look at what's happened. Number 40 gets loose off of turn 2 and takes out, who is that? The 1? I believe that's the
one of Trey Smith.
Very unfortunate this early on in the race.
That's something we talked about. That's something we talked about in the pre-race, though, just how dangerous it is coming out of turn 2 and on lap. Just on the first opening lap, so we already have an incident that could possibly end the 48 stay and severely hamper the ones.
Well, thankfully this league does run one fast repair, but it really is unfortunate, speaking from the racing point of view, to be using it this early in the race. It is just not always the best thing you want to be doing, especially since we really only just got started.
Currently working lap number 3, I do believe. So very early in this race. A lot of racing yet to go.
A lot of racing left to go. I couldn't agree more. We'll change the overlay here, see if that helps us out. Take a better look at what laps we're on. Of course, I'm still adjusting to all of this. This is still all very new to me, so I apologize, folks, once again, if this is not the most stellar thing in the world, but we are giving it the best try I can.
If you have any suggestions, comments, or you have any questions, just hop in the chat. We'll be keeping an eye on that.
Dakota Henderson leads us through turns 3 and 4 behind the pace truck. Just behind him is Keith Ayers in the number 19 Ford, James Napier in third, Max Costin in fourth, Andrew Starks in fifth. Heading further down the field, it is Will Moore in sixth, Stephen Ayers Jr. in seventh, John Sauer in eighth, Timothy McDonald in ninth, Mike Presley Mail in 10th, Tanner Ensign in 11th, Perry Harrington in 12th, Phil Hitman Monzo in 13th, Scott Rush in 14th, Gene Watkinson in 15th place, Dylan Smith in 16th, Trey Smith in 17th, and Ethan. Actually, no, that's you, Ethan. Don't worry about that. My bad.
Yeah. Alright, Dakota Henderson will choose the inside lane again. Interesting choice considering who took the lead from that inside lane. The 19 of Keith Ayers will be on the outside lane as Space Truck has the lights off, leading them around
Coming back
to
around.
take the green flag.
Once again, coming back around, turns 3 and 4, the number 5 on the pole position as the pace truck comes back around one more time. We get ready to go green flag racing once again here at the Rock. 5, of course, in the control of the restart. And he's off to the races. Huge start.
Oh, Ayers
19's
in the wall.
19 in the wall off the restart.
Good control by him, not making that wreck any worse. He will pull down to the inside lane. Here comes that 7 truck. Third. He won the season opener at Las Vegas in stunning fashion.
I remember that race. That was a fantastic race from the 7 truck. He's got a lot of speed in these shorter tracks. Let's see if he can make some magic happen for tonight.
Out front for the first time this season, but not able to pull away. James Napier about 2.5 trucks behind that 5 truck, trying to reel him in a little bit further. These trucks are trying to run further down the track, saving their tires. If we can get a good long green flag run going, whoever's the fastest is going to depend on how good they save their tires. You see Fearless Motorsports Stephen Ayers Jr. running in the already got around 63. Let's see if he can get around the 19 Ayers. No relation, by the way.
We're riding along with the number 69 Toyota of Stephen Ayers. Running pretty good. A little further back from the leading pack, but he's not doing too bad out there. Running a little high in turns 1 and 2, but that's okay. Keeping up. Oh.
Go in the wall.
Tap off the wall, and he takes out the
63
63.
in the air. Caution flag.
Caution's out. And he wrecks the
But they're
44
still taking
and the...
trucks.
Oh no. Huge crash.
Tanner Ensign gets into the back of Stephen Ayers, who's trying not to involve anybody else. A lot of damage to the rear bumper of the 69.
Doing it.
Now that's gonna really hurt the 44.
A lot of bad wreck there. Let's see if we can go back a little bit. Take a look at what's from Tanner coming up to the wreck.
I don't. This definitely something out of my league. I'm used to a lot of sideways stuff, but this track's making the truck really really loose. But we'll see what we can do. I definitely think we got a better of a longer run truck than we do a shorter run. I just hope we can get this GLM #1 Chevy up front.
With how loose these trucks are handling at this stage in the race, do you see the condition getting worse? And what are your expectations for a long green flag run, as we already have 2 cautions at 10 laps?
I think it's going to get a lot more slicker as the track heats up. Depending on the setups and everyone's got, I think it's going to more make it for us anyways. It's going to be a little bit tighter, which is going to be nice. But if someone has more of a looser end setup, it's going to be a 50-50 shot if they can hang on to it or not.
Well, I'll let you get back to your team channel. Good luck out there, and hope you can work your way back up.
All right, thanks, buddy.
That is Trey Smith in the number 1 truck involved in an incident on lap number 2.
Very unfortunate for that number 1 truck. He always seems to be one of the really fast guys out there, speaking from experience. We haven't had a lot of the big super speedway tracks on the calendar just yet. They're coming up later in the season, but he's been pretty fast at some of these shorter tracks so far. Come back around for the green flag once again here at the Rock. 5 stacking up the field, a little bit hard there. 7 he takes out his rear bumper, but that's okay. Everybody gets away seemingly pretty okay. We come back around turns 1 and 2.
Here we go. Dakota Henderson running away with the lead side by side for second. It's Andrew Starks on the inside, James Napier on the outside. Pretty good racing for second here, and Napier's gonna run really good on that outside lane. Gonna come down and clear that 7 truck of Andrew Starks. Let's say run around to the finish line. Give that spot to Napier for now. They're still battling behind him for 4th. Here comes the 29.
Jumping on a little bit further in the back of the pack, running along with the 22 right now, John Sauer. Just to take a look at what's going on a little bit further down in the field. Of course, the 1 truck of Trey Smith just behind him, of course, who we just interviewed. Chasing down the 19, 29, and the 7. Try and get back up to that lead pack. And, of course, Dakota Henderson, who is just a monster on these restarts in that number 5 Hendrick Chevrolet. 22 pushing the 29 a little bit there down the back straight. That's all right. Little bump grab never hurt.
I don't know if they want to be bump drafted here in the middle of the corner. That sounds like a wreck waiting to happen.
Well, you know, if you know how to do it right and you know how to be gentle with the push, you can really make some magic happen for the corners, especially at some of the shorter tracks like this. Of course, you don't want to be punting people in or out of the corners because, you know, that's how you screw people and just wreck them. But it's just the way it goes sometimes. 1 truck trying to make a move on the 22. Slides a little bit up onto the inside. 22 keeps its position. Come back around, turns 22, down to the back.
So we saw Keith Ayers in that 19 get up in the wall on the restart and fall several spots back, but he has regrouped. He just got around that 7 truck of Andrew Starks for the 3rd position, trying to chase down James Napier. Currently, Dakota Henderson still in the lead. One of the fastest cars on the track. It looks like he is the fastest car on the track. Last lap was a 24.7, so definitely putting a little bit of a gap between himself and the 77.
Now the number 5 truck of Dakota Henderson here just seems to be in another zip code out here. Hopefully he can maintain this good pace as the track comes up and as the trucks warm up. Of course, once the setups and everybody's trucks get worn in a little bit, as the track gets settled in, we'll be able to see just how well these setups really hold up later in the race as we are 20 laps of 80 completed.
So currently about a quarter of the race through. We've seen this is definitely the longest green flag run we've seen. The field definitely starting to get a little bit strung out, but if we go back a little bit further in the field and look at Tanner Ensign, looks like he did not use his fast repair. He's currently running in the 13th position, so it looks like he thinks there still might be he looks like he's anticipating another caution. At least another caution to get that fast repair going.
That's actually a better strategy, one of the strategies I've employed more than a few times. Unfortunately, getting caught up in a lot of that myself. You know, just racing, it happens, of course, but it's the best we can do sometimes. Sometimes it's easier to run longer with a damaged vehicle than it is to try and race with a brand new vehicle and waste your fast repair early in the race. Sometimes if the truck's in good enough shape, keep going. If you're not blowing up every, quarter mile, I'd say you're pretty good to go.
So keeping an eye on the 88 truck, that is Timothy McDonald, your league sponsor with TNR Designs. Be sure to give them a shout out on social media and support them for supporting us here in the Wild West Racing League. A special thanks to him for coming on board and sponsoring this league, but he is currently battling with Harry Harrington for that 9th position as he gets around the outside lane. That's a sleek looking truck right there.
Very much so. Scraped the wall a little bit coming off of turn 2 on the outside wall, but that's okay. You know, just rubbing the paint off a little bit doesn't hurt nothing.
We have a
don't be
crash
tail
in the
slapping
back.
into those
Gene
walls, though.
Watkinskin in the 111 hit the inside wall, it looked like. I think he spun off of a corner, had to tow. No caution flag. We will stay green, so good for him. Also, Dylan Smith still on pit road with damage. It looks like he might have been involved in another incident after the caution flag. So 2 trucks with damage on pit road. It's really gonna hurt their chances of recovering and getting back up to the front, but we are still green. It's like close to 15 lap green flag run. Dakota Henderson up front, pulling away.
Yeah, it just appears that Dakota is just simply running away with it. He's currently led 25 of the 26 laps. Essentially, since the start of the race, he's been leading the whole pack. I find that a little bit amazing, I gotta be honest. This guy just has this track's number down. He's handling it better than apparently everybody else out there. And we're lap 27 of 80.
Very impressive how he's able to run the inside lane, lap in, lap out, and make fast laps doing it. Just look at this 29 of Will Moore. He's also making pretty fast laps, but he has to run middle to high lane of the track. That 29 of Will Moore, last week's winner, after Hunter Sr. and another driver got it together on the last lap.
Of course, racing's racing. You never know what's going to happen until the checkered flag comes out. Can't tell you how much luck that's given me over the past couple times, at Daytona especially. Rex coming right back to the start-finish line at Daytona for the win has actually given me P4s 2 times in a row now. So sometimes it's all about that puck luck, as we call it.
So here's an excellent example of why you need to save your tires. 77 of James Napier. This is approaching a little bit over a 15-lap green flag run. In the past 2 laps, he has fallen from 2nd to 6th and is still dropping up on the outside lane. You can see him sliding all over the track. He has worn those tires out and it's coming back to bottom.
Yeah,
Keith Ayers up to 2nd, Will Moore in 3rd, James Napier still falling.
All the way into the wall, tapping the wall slightly there on turn 2. But he is definitely struggling with grip. He is running mid-high corners now. Everybody in front of him seeming to kind of pull away from him on the bottom line.
See Stephen Ayers, lap truck. See a little bit of damage on that left front. Getting passed by the 22. That is John Sawyer up to 5th.
Yeah, that number 69 truck seems to have a lot of front end damage. Good bit of front damage as well. He's running basically an open wheeler on the front end at this point. Unfortunate for him, another wreck very early on. Seems to have a good bit of damage on his rear wing as well. Wonder what happened to him. I don't remember seeing anything pop up for him recently.
I believe that's when the 44 rear-ended him.
Oh, yes, that's correct. My apologies.
See Trey Smith going around the lap truck of Stephen Ayers. How about Trey Smith recovering to the 7th position in a fresh truck, trying to catch that 77 of James Napier, who is still hanging on for dear life.
Very much so. He's also made up 10 positions since the start of the race. Sometimes early fast repair for an accident like that seems to work out for people. Sometimes it comes to bite you later in the race. Hopefully that's not the case in this situation, but we'll have to see.
Alrighty, breaking news. Dakota Henderson slower on the track. Just ran a 26-second, 2 laps in a row. Keith Ayers is catching him very rapidly. That gap is dropping. And the 19 truck is running the 5 down. Question is Dakota Henderson just laying back and saving his equipment? Or is he falling off for good? He saw the 77 already fall off as the 19 continues to run that 5 truck down. But Will Moore a little bit faster than both of these trucks. So this is shaping up to be a great battle, Pat.
Very much so, especially with 35 laps of the 80 laps completed. Unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of time to really practice here myself this week, as I stated earlier, so I don't really know how the tires are going to start falling off, especially since almost all of the lead cars have not yet pitted. So we're 36 laps now, and the majority of the field hasn't had to pit. Don't know if these cars are really just shredding through these tires. And, you know, of course, Dakota, either he's trying to lay back and save the equipment as best as he can, wait out for another caution, or he's just used it all up early on.
And Will Moore is catching that 19 truck of Keith Ayers. I was talking with the 29 before the race. He did mention about how he had a lot of time to work on a setup for Rockingham. One fun thing about this league is it is an open setup league. These drivers are able to race whatever setup they want. And that could be another factor to play into the tire wear. I mean, there are some setups you can run extremely fast, but also eats up the tires extremely quickly over the long run.
Very much so. That's been the main problem with me in this league as well. I'm not exactly pro or anything, but I'm hopefully not as bad as rookies are sometimes. But I just never had really any time to ever play with any of the open setup stuff. So when I joined this league, I already knew I wasn't going to be realistically challenging for wins. But I think it's a fun concept for, some of the smaller leagues. Oh, the 7 spins out on the backstretch. 7 spins out, Stephen Ayers.
That is Andrew Starks in the 7.
Starks, excuse me. Hang on.
As Stephen Ayers wrecked a lap ago, had to go. And here's Andrew Starks around. These tires, you can tell, giving a lot of people grief as that 7 has some damage to the left front.
I'm trying to get back up to that here. Where are you? Broadcast, do your thing, please. Here we go.
Oh, looks like he had help.
The 22 had...
John Sire gets tight.
22 assisted him into the wall. Big left side damage, excuse me, for that number 7 truck. Very unfortunate. We rejoin our leaders. Very, very unfortunate. And everybody's coming down to pit road. Maybe not that one. There we go. That's better. I'm still learning, folks. Give me a break. Majority
pit
of the
road
field
is full.
coming in. Only a handful of drivers staying out. Only 3 or 4 cars staying out on the track behind the pace truck. One of the cars getting the wave around as they come down pit road. Set up our camera here at the end of pit road, see the race off. Number 19 with the fastest time gets the very last spot. Number 5 and the 19 very close off pit road, followed by the 7, 22, 1, and 77. So Dakota Henderson retakes the lead after a very good pit stop. Followed by Keith Ayers, Andrew Starks, John Sauer, Trey Smith, James Napier, and Max Coast off of pit road.
So now we have a new factor to this equation. The 19, the 29, and the 5 are all going to be on the same tires, but it's going to be cold tires. These drivers are going to be struggling trying to get back up to speed. Hopefully that they don't cause a big wreck in the front of the field, but all these drivers are going to be on the same tires. Will Dakota Henderson be the fastest on the short run? As Will Moore, where is Will Moore? Did he have a penalty?
Will Moore is down in 12th place. May have just been a very bad stop on.
That's going to suck for that 29 truck. The 5 and the 19 going to have to duel it out once again. How many times have we seen these two on the front row?
So far, I think it's been every restart as the pace truck dives down onto pit road. 5 truck in control once again through the restart zone. Takes it off.
Great start. And here's the 7 up to second. Here comes Andrew Starks to the back bumper of Dakota Henderson.
Very good start from the 7. A little early on the prediction for the restart, but seemed to help him out in the end. He did spin his tires right after the restart. Huge moves from that 7 truck.
Dakota Henderson pulling away.
He's not going to give it up that easy.
To the inside. Here comes the 19 to the inside of the 7 as they head towards turn 1 and 2. It's going to be an easy pass for the 19. But here comes the 7. A little bit of run.
Get right back in the slipstream. Place back. Run down that 19.
Well, now Keith Ayers just wants to run down the 5. Look at him through that corner. The gap down to 2 truck lengths. Here comes the 19 looking for the lead. Does he have a chance in 1 and 2?
A lot of big moves from this 19. Seems that the fresher tires really seem to help him out.
The gap steady, about 2 truck lengths now, down to 1 and 3 and 4.
Sometimes these
1 truck length, he has to check up.
Sometimes cold tires seem to help on restarts. Believe it or not, once they really start warming up just at the beginning, they have the best grip possible, and he's making every advantage of that.
Here's Dakota Henderson. Dakota Henderson, big wiggle, has to check up. Here comes Keith Ayers again. Half a truck length now on the back bumper. Here he comes, looking to the outside.
Dakota Henderson not giving it up, though. That 19 being forced to run to the outside. Coming up through the restart zone. Running them all the way to the wall. 19 has to back off a little bit, but he has a little bit more on the bottom there. Trying to run down that 5 of Dakota Henderson once again.
Gap now 2.5 truck lengths to 5. Pulls it back. Here comes the 19. Charging hard into 3 and 4. Crossing over to the bottom. Does he have a chance in 1 and 2? Gap still about a full truck length through the front stretch. The 19 still trying to lead that 5 in. Half truck length at the entrance, but the 5 stretches it out through the middle of the corner. Good corner by the 5 truck.
Lots of good green flag racing here once again at Rockingham with the Wild West Racing League. A lot of really fun action here tonight. We hope you've all been enjoying it this far.
That 5 truck starting to stretch it out a little bit more. Looks like the 19 kind of used up the tires a little bit early, just trying to run down that 5 truck. Guess now we just have to look, can Andrew Starks reel these 2 in? Andrew Starks running in that number 7. How about Max Koss back up to the 4th position after falling back outside of the top 5? He had a pretty fast lap a couple laps ago. That 63 truck.
Only down 1 position since the start. He's only down to 4th place, keeping that truck pretty clean for the most part, apart from that wreck earlier.
And here comes the 19 into the 5. 5 goes around. No caution. They wreck each other. Stopped on the apron.
The replay here, let's take a look. 19 dumps the 5 into turns 3 and 4. 5 trying to save it and comes back down and pushes the 19 into the wall. Wow.
And we do have a caution.
And we have a caution.
I think it was Dakota Henderson went off the track. But what a battle between the 19 and the 5. Looking at the replay, it looks like the 19 just drove it in really hard and was not expecting the 5 to check up as much as he did.
Very, very unfortunate for both of them, especially at this point in the race. We're a better part of, I believe, halfway in. And this is now almost a worst-case scenario for these guys.
That is definitely not a move that anybody here was expecting to happen on lap 51 of 80. I mean, it's just too early to be racing each other like that.
Well, we're a better part of halfway through now. Of course, you know, a lot of these guys are getting antsy. It's getting towards the end. We've only got 27 laps to go. A lot of moves need to be made if you want to make this thing win your victory at the end of the day. Of course, the number 7 of Andrew Starks is now taking the lead, followed by Max Coast in the number 63 as he dives down pit road. John Sauer taking the second place position. Trey Smith in third. Will Moore in fourth. Some trucks file on down pit road.
What a battle between that 5 and the 19. That was fun to watch for multiple laps.
That was
Kind of-
incredibly fun.
Kind of disappointed it ended the way it did, but
Well, of course. Very unfortunate that racing goes the way it does, unfortunately, especially in speedway racing like this. These trucks get real loose and very tail happy very quickly. They have no weight over the rear ends of these trucks, especially in the lower speed tracks like this. You have a lot of hard time keeping the aero working for you, keeping the speed up, especially as you're trying to make these trucks turn in and keep the power on. Come back to 1 to go before the green flag once again. Lap 54 of 50, it'll be 55 laps completed next time by. John Sauer in the first, Andrew Starks on the first place position, John Sauer in second, Trey Smith in third, Will Moore in fourth, Mike Presley Mail in fifth, Timothy McDonald in sixth, Scott Rush in seventh, Phil Hitman Mozo in 8th. Tanner Ensign in 9th, making a huge comeback for him. That is fantastic work for that number 44 truck of Tanner Ensign. Max Coast in 10th after coming out of the pits. Dakota Henderson in 11th. Keith Ayers in 12th. Stephen Ayers Jr. in 13th. Perry Harrington in 14th. Come back around turns 3 and 4. Getting ready to go green once again.
Ace truck to pit road. Here's Andrew Starks on the inside. John Sawyer, we have a wreck behind him. Not sure who spun the tires and got in the wall. And it's a caution flag. Looks like it's Dylan Smith involved. Not sure if that's the truck that initiated it.
Well, let's take a jump back and take a look. Coming back, of course, to the green flag. Number 48 of Dylan Smith spins the tires and in the wall.
I'll go up there was somebody else who spun the tires and got in the wall. It was a black truck. I think he was in front of Tanner Ensign. Maybe look at the 38 or the 88.
Well, let's take a ride on with Tanner. Let's take a look here. Coming back.
It looks like it was Will Moore possibly.
Missed a shift.
Well, that's something else that's something else we completely missed. So complete chaos on the restart. We've seen at least 3 instances of drivers almost causing a big wreck.
Very unfortunate racing as we only have a few laps left to go here. 25 to go this time around, and our leader's coming down pit road. Question is, do you want to pit later and chance better tires towards the end, or do you want to wait the rest of the competition out, see them wreck all out, and see if you can win from there?
I don't know. Tires are such a big deal, but it really depends on how long we go green. We keep having these short runs. We're just